The tension headache that shows up every Sunday night, the way you wake up already tired? Or what about the impatience or the irritability that hits around about 3 p.m. right after your fourth back to back? That brain fog on a Friday afternoon when you sit down to do your most important thinking and there's nothing there. Yeah, that's not weakness. That's data. When your body is running at that pace, the constant urgency, the never fully off, it's just exhausting. And it actively works against the type of thinking that senior leaders they want to see. They want to see strategic thinking. They want to see the big picture thinking. They want to see the what actually matters here thinking. Look, you can't access that from inside a stress response. So your body, it isn't flagging another problem to manage. It's giving you information to act on. You aren't failing at your job. What you're doing is you were working in a system that was never designed to protect your best thinking. Are you picking up what I'm putting down? And these 3 scripts, they're how you start changing that system from the inside. The third script, you know what? It's one that most women never say out loud because it feels too vulnerable, because it's the one that changes the dynamic the most. I'll get there. Stay with me, okay? The first shift is this: going from reactive availability to protected thinking time. And most high performing women resist this one because somewhere along the way, we learned that being reachable was the same thing as being available. It's not. The people who are the most trusted in senior leadership aren't the ones who respond the fastest. They're the ones who show up with the clearest thinking. So here's what you say to your team, to your manager, to whoever it fits your context, okay? You say, I've been looking at my calendar to make sure I have the space to bring my best thinking to the work that matters the most. And I'm going to start protecting some deep work blocks on Tuesday and Wednesdays. I'll still be available outside those windows. I just wanted to give you a heads up. How did that feel? It feels doable. You're not complaining. You're not apologizing. You're communicating like someone who understands what they need to perform well. This is leadership. Aha. In fact, I want you to drop depleted in the comments if you've ever tried to do your most important thinking at the end of the day and it left you with nothing, because I see you. You ready for that second script? I want you to decline without disappearing. Okay, stay with me. Okay. This is the one that most women, they just completely overlook. They avoid it because they're like, what? I used to go to every meeting I was invited to, every single one, because it's a privilege just to be invited to a seat at the table. And also it felt like there was some risk in not going. I might miss something important. Like I look like I wasn't a team player. But here's what I actually missed. The meetings that deserved my full presence, they didn't get my full attention because I was already spent. I had already spent everything on the ones that didn't need me in the meetings. That's not leadership. That's attendance. Here's a way to start making a different choice without burning a bridge. Okay. Are you ready for it? We're going to say, I want to make sure that I'm showing up fully for the meetings where my input matters the most this week. Could I get a quick preview of the agenda for this one so I can figure out if I'm the right person in the room or if this is a good use or good growth opportunity for this other person? You're not saying no to the meeting. You're asking to make a strategic decision about it. So that reads completely differently than, should I be there? Should I be there? No, we're not doing that. One is avoidance and the other is prioritization. And executives, they do it all the time. They do it all the time. You ready for script number 3? This is the hard conversation. This is the one that most people miss. They're like, you know what? I'm over it. When the pace has been going on long enough that your body is clearly telling you something is wrong, You need to have a version of this conversation with someone in your leadership chain, okay? And I know how that sounds. It sounds like admitting you can't handle it. It sounds like risk. But here's what's actually risky: waiting until you're in a crisis to say something. Now that's when the risk happens, because by then conversations look completely different. Your performance has already shifted, and the goodwill that you built, it's already gone. Having this conversation early before the cracks show, that's what leaders do. Okay, I'm going to show you how. You're going to say this: I want to be straight with you. The current volume is at a level where I'm not showing up at the standard I expect of myself or my team. I like to talk about when we can look at adjusting, not because I'm not committed, but because I want to sustain this type of deliverability in the long term. All right, you're not complaining about your workload. You're flagging a performance sustainability issue, a pace issue. You're coming to the table with self-awareness and the desire to solve it. That's what high trust leaders do. Look, your body isn't failing you. It's been signaling you. And the question is whether you're ready to lead that signal instead of pushing past it. Now, your body, it isn't the problem. There was a season in my work where I had 23 meetings in a single week. And that's not including the Slack threads I was making decisions in between meetings, not including the emails I was firing off in the 2 minutes before the next meeting started. I remember sitting down on a Friday afternoon to do the kind of thinking that actually moves my work forward. I had blocked off my calendar. I had a plan, but I had nothing. I was depleted. I literally had nothing. I remember thinking, what's wrong with me? And the answer was nothing. I had just spent an entire week reacting, meeting to meeting, ping to ping, decision to decision, without a single moment of recovery built in. Here's what I want you to take from this. None of these scripts are about doing less. They're about creating the conditions to do the right things well. The most strategic, clear-headed, visionary version of you doesn't show up in a stress spike. She shows up when there's margins, when there's recovery built in, when the calendar was designed with some intention. That's the shift. Not less ambition, not a different job, a different operating model. And let me tell you why this shift is so critical, because if you don't take a beat to pause and shift how you're showing up, you will be making quicker decisions, but you'll be doing it from reactive mode and not as the leader, the true leader you want to be seen as. You'll always be seen as the doer, not the senior manager, not the VP, not the executive presence. The woman I work with who finally use a script like these, they don't just feel better. They start showing up differently in every room they walk into because they stopped spending leadership energy on managing what they should have been communicating.